In the Indian city of Navi Mumbai, flamingos are seemingly everywhere. Every winter, close to 150,000 flamingos descend on the city's water bodies and wetlands. During low tide, the birds spread out in the vast mudflats of the nearby Tane Creek, where they feed. Two species of flamingos visit these wetlands. The taller, greater flamingos seen in the background, and the smaller, lesser flamingos in the foreground. Apart from flamingos, the Tane Creek plays host to vast flocks of waders from Central Asia and beyond, as well as many species of resident water birds. The Tane Creek separates the cities of Mumbai and Navi Mumbai. In 2018, a 21.8-kilometer bridge across the creek was commissioned to greatly reduce commuting time between the two cities. The Mumbai Trans-Harbour Link is the longest sea bridge in India. As part of the overall project, the Mumbai Metropolitan Region Development Authority, MMRDA for short, commissioned a 10-year ecological monitoring project of the Thane Creek by the Bombay Natural History Society, popularly known as BNHS. The study includes detailed bird observations, a rigorous bird ringing program, pollution analysis through water and soil testing, and, for the first time, satellite tracking of Mumbai's flamingo visitors. Capturing flamingos for attaching satellite transmitters is no easy matter. It's not possible to trap them in the vast creek where they feed during low tide. However, BNHS scientists discovered that during high tide, the birds fly to nearby shallow water bodies to rest. So, expert BNHS bird trappers set snares in these water bodies before the birds arrived and were able to capture a few. The solar-powered satellite transmitter may look large, but it weighs a mere 16 grams and is easily carried by a flamingo. It takes about 40 minutes to custom fit a harness to secure the transmitter to the bird. The tagged flamingo is released to join its flock. Now, its movements can be tracked wherever it goes. Meanwhile, taking advantage of the high tide in the creek, another BNHS team is at work. This team specializes in studying the health of the creek ecosystem by periodically collecting water samples for testing and by analyzing the mud from the creek bed. Chemicals are added to the sample to stain and preserve the organisms in the mud. Back in the lab, the life forms from the mud samples are meticulously catalogued and analyzed. Pollutants, including heavy metals, sink to the bottom of the sea floor and bioaccumulate in the bodies of the organisms that live in the creek bed. These creatures, which form a vital part of the food chain, are therefore excellent indicators of the health of the ecosystem. Different species of wading birds feed on different foods in the creek. Lesser flamingos use their specialized beaks to feed on microscopic blue-green algae. Other waders feed on various creatures that live in the mud. The ones with short beaks pick food from closer to the surface, while those with longer beaks probe deeper. To find out exactly what organisms these birds feed on, a specially designed mud core sampler is used to collect soil from different depths. Collecting samples from this boggy habitat, where one can easily sink to the waist, is not easy. Moving around on the mudflats needs a clever technique perfected by the locals. As night falls, the bird-ringing team begins its work. Earlier in the evening, the team set up base near the salt pans at Mankurd, which is a well-known roosting site for tens of thousands of waders. To trap some of these birds safely, the team sets up special nets across the salt pans. Birds that fly into these near-invisible nets get caught and are carefully removed for ringing. The aluminium ring is engraved with a BNHS code number and contact details. Besides this, each bird is also fitted with color-coded alphanumeric plastic flags. This way, scientists and bird watchers around the world can identify tagged birds from a distance and send information back to the BNHS. The ringing program has yielded valuable data on the movements of migratory birds both within India as well as outside its borders. A Terex sandpiper, tagged in Mumbai, was later spotted in Kazakhstan about 2,500 kilometers away. A tagged curlew sandpiper travelled to a wetland about 5,000 kilometers away in China. A black-tailed godwit fitted with a satellite transmitter by BNHS scientists was tracked all the way to a wetland in southwestern Siberia and then back to the Tane Creek a few months later, providing a detailed picture of its movements. Previously, scientists were not entirely sure where the flamingos went for part of the year after leaving Mumbai. Thanks to the satellite tracking transmitters, we now have some preliminary data. All the 6 flamingos that were fitted with transmitters in 2022 left for their breeding grounds in Gujarat around July after the onset of the southwest monsoon. At the time of completing this film, 2 of the tagged flamingos had returned to the Tane Creek in early 2023. Another finding of the study is that during the 6 months or so that the flamingos spend in the wetlands around Mumbai, they split their time every day between their feeding grounds in the Tane Creek and nearby inland water bodies known as high tide roosts, where they rest. 3 very important high tide roosts are the water bodies near the Delhi Public School, NRI Complex, and TS Chanakya in Navi Mumbai. BNHS studies show that conserving the Tane Creek alone is not enough. It's just as important to protect the shallow high tide roosts nearby because the flamingos need safe places to rest whenever the tide rises in the creek. As for the MTHL bridge, BNHS has recommended visual and sound barriers to mitigate disturbance to the birds in the creek from the movement of vehicles. The bridge will also feature a bird-watching platform for public use. The Tane Creek and its surrounding wetlands are crucial to the survival of flamingos and other migratory birds that visit year after year. Therefore, long-term monitoring and scientific conservation measures are extremely important for securing the future of these fragile wetland habitats and their precious visitors.